G'day, this is Kevin from Ordinary Adventures in Oz. A little while back we were up in Yamba, and what we're doing in this shot is heading onto the Yamba Iluka ferry. Yamba's a really pretty little place up on the far north coast of New South Wales, and there's a ferry that runs to a township called Iluka on the other side of the Clarence River, and you can see off the bow of the vessel there the mouth of the Clarence River, which is where the river discharges into the Pacific Ocean. We were really lucky this day. It was nice and sunny. The river was really calm, and it was a really pleasant sort of day out. It's actually pretty cheap. It's about, I don't know, $10-15 each. I'll put a cost down on the screen here somewhere so you can see exactly how much it is on the day that I uploaded this to YouTube. But yeah, it's definitely worthwhile doing, and it's a really pretty approach coming into Iluka. So check out the yachts that sort of sit in this little harbour, and you can now see where the boat pulls up. So the ferry runs a couple of times a day. There's enough time between when you arrive in Iluka to go for a wander around, have a look at the town, have a look at the beach, maybe get some fish and chips, before you have to be back at the ferry wharf to get back across to Yamba. Assuming that you'd done something like we have and dropped the car there. So we drove to Yamba from where we were staying, and parked the car, hopped on the ferry and came across. We had some lunch, a bit of a walk around, then we jumped on the ferry and went back over to Yamba. Once we got back over to Yamba, it was a pretty wild sort of a day, at least on the surf beaches. So this is Shelley Beach, pretty little beach, and normally it's not quite this, like the waves sort of are usually a little bit different to this, but because it was sort of windy and a little bit cool and it was in the middle of winter, we sort of drove up, had a look. This is an old whaling station where I'm filming this from, and you can't really see it, but at the time there were a handful of dolphins surfing in the waves, but I only had the GoPro with me, and you can't really sort of zoom in with a GoPro to get good footage, but I did get a little bit of footage of the waves coming into this really remarkable little beach. To get some idea of how big the surf was, we walked up and just sort of got this fantastic footage. I really like it, of the waves breaking up over the rocks. In the top right hand side of the shot, just as I've now moved the camera, So that's Yamba town, where the pine trees are in the top right hand corner of the shot, and main beach, Yamba's main beach. Just something special about watching the wash of a wave come up over the rocks. But yeah, this part of Yamba, they used to drag whales in, and pretty horrible part of history sort of thing. But these days it's just a bit of a beach and it's a tourist area. Up the top of the hill, there's a lighthouse, there's a pub, and then over a little bit further the township. It's actually really worthwhile. Come for a bit of a walk around and have a look at this part of Yamba. We went for a bit of a drive. I guess I grew up not too far from Yamba, so I know a little bit about the township itself. We didn't spend much time in there, certainly didn't get the GoPro out. But we did take this footage of Pithy Beach, it's called, from one of the little parks. So it's a really nice little park for a picnic. Again, it was one of those days where it was, well, not freezing cold, but it was pretty cool, fresh, windy, so we sort of had a bit of a look around here, took some footage and then just sort of moved on. So there's a coastal walk that you can do at Iluka National Park. It sets off from a little place called Angourie Point, which is probably about a 15-20 minute drive at tops from the centre of Yamba. And it's got a guided walk with all of these little signs. So again, worthwhile coming out here for a visit. If it's summer, it is really spectacular. There's a lot of people surfing and doing things like that. So if you get the chance, have a quick squiz at both Yamba and Angourie. Nice little part of the world. And if you enjoyed this video, click subscribe for me.